And we are off. The biggest race weekend in Formula One, the most anticipated, the most glitz and glamour. Lost its luster a little bit due to COVID this year, but we don't care. We are
Mhm.
fired up here at Picket at
Mhm.
Your Base Squad.
It's
Monaco,
a
baby.
it's a street circuit. It's exciting. It's fast. There won't be a lot of overtaking, so qualifying matters a lot and strategy matters a lot. I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be hectic.
I just want to watch the boat parties, man.
Yeah.
That's my goal one day is to get on one of those.
Yeah.
We're
going to
not
miss
going to get
those.
Tom Brady. We're not going to get Tom Brady throwing Danny Ricciardo
Nope.
a perfect seam from yacht to yacht this year, but we will get some damn good racing. So it'll be a good weekend no matter what.
Yes,
But
sir.
first, let's wrap up, which I guess was probably my least favorite race of the year, maybe just because of the result, but also just not a very exciting race.
No.
The Spanish GP. For the first topic on my show notes, I have hope, then pain.
Mm-hmm.
Verstappen showed really good skills on that overtaking lap. I watched some videos. It seems like he was towing the line of being too aggressive. It was just acceptable enough for Lewis not to really say anything about it. Lewis kind of conceded it and gave him that. Lewis probably could have fought a little bit back, but I think Lewis is smart and knows, let's not take myself out of this race with potentially crash with Max.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, it's definitely ballsy. I think that you could probably, it was about the width of a playing card, between the two of them when it was all said and done with that first overtake. But like you said, man, it was literally the first stretch, that first start, and then the second to last lap were the two most exciting parts of that race. And the second to last lap was kind of disappointing with Lewis overtaking ultimately. And you knew it was going to happen. I know we were texting, and Kelly, you said it, 20 laps prior, we were all saying it's like, this thing's done. It's over. I'm blaming Red Bull, man. Horrible strategies this year so far.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, as soon as they said Hungary 2018, Max knew, everybody knew it was going to be a two-stop by Lewis. He was going to take him towards the end because he had the tires. I mean, I think Sergio is getting his pace back. I think he might need one or two more races. It's tough that Monaco is one of those two. But there was nothing Max could have done with that strategy really without Sergio fighting right there behind him in fourth, because they would have just stacked them. I think Max kind of knew, but onto Monaco.
Really, at the end, that's what it came down to, was tire management and the brains of the operation over at Mercedes. Just outmanned, outclassed Red Bull. Like Chip said, after Lewis went in for that second stop, I was like, they're not doing this for any other reason. They know that they have it in their back pocket. Like they had that strategy ready to go. They probably knew they won the race before it even started based off of what they thought Red Bull was going to do. Once I saw him go in, I was like, all right, there's a method to this madness. It's over. So it was tough. It was tough. But someone who didn't disappoint this weekend, Charles Leclerc, continues to just squeeze the most out of that Ferrari. I look back, Charles hasn't finished outside of the top six this year. The only way he's finishing outside of the top six is flukes. I think you can pretty much expect consistent top six finishes, probably mixing a few podiums throughout the year with the way the kid's driving. He's out of his mind.
Yeah, I think he's more comfortable in that car. It's getting better every weekend, which is good. I mean, they kind of have a positive outlook. They got Carlos, so they're getting a lot more feedback. And I think they're just like, their engine is better this year. They're in a better spot developmentally. They're looking towards 2022 still, but they have a decent car this year, much better than, placing P6 in constructors last year. So I don't know. I think they're doing something right, and I think that kid's special.
Yeah, man, it's been cool watching this brick by brick thing that we're kind of watching with Ferrari. It's just like each race seems to be a little bit better, whether it's the drivers performing a little better, the cars looking a little better. They're ultimately, I think, as we approach the second half of the season and everything, I think we're going to start seeing Ferrari right up there. And, again, it's going to come down to this McLaren Ferrari battle we've all been talking about. But so far, Ferrari's looking really good, man. So I don't know. it's looking great.
Yeah, and someone who you think would be right ahead of Ferrari and McLaren who hasn't been, Sergio. You kind of mentioned him earlier. Sergio doesn't have a podium this year, and he's only finished 4 where he should be every single race once. So the excuses, there's not too many of them left.
Dude, I'm kind of like watching Sergio. There's no doubt he is fast as hell. Like he's insanely fast, especially when you're watching, like quals or something like that. But he seems to be lacking some finesse with this car. I mean, the thing he's I mean, I don't know whether it's qual or, like he's almost spun out almost every race this season, and like, or at least had some kind of, accident with the car that ultimately he's been able to race. Yes, race day. And he's making insane positional moves, whether he's qualifying in like, I think it was like 14th one race and he made it up to like 5th. So he's going fast, but like if he can keep that thing on the rails, then I think he's going to do really well. But I think he still needs to kind of get the finesse and touchdown with it a little bit. There's no doubt he's fast.
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously it's a little biased. You guys know how much I love the man. But I think he'll have it in a few races. You got to look at Albon's first 4 starts in his Red Bull seat. You got to look at Pierre's too. And I think Sergio has had more overtakes, more points. I think he's been more consistent. I know he's not where he should be. He's not helping Red Bull in the battles that he should be right now, but give it a week or two or a race or two. And then play this clip.
Yeah.
Roast me.
Yeah, right.
We'll save this clip.
Yeah.
All takes exposed potentially.
Yep.
So Carlos and Danny, this is actually a tighter battle. I think we expect Danny to do so well that we've talked throughout the week. We've been really disappointed. But if you look at it, Danny's actually ahead of Carlos in the standings. I expect more from Carlos, to be honest. And I think Carlos has a higher ceiling in that Ferrari than Danny may have in that McLaren. We've seen, so Danny so far this year, 7, 6, 9, 6. I think you're going to see him 7, 6. You might mix in like a few top 5 finishes, but he's not Lando. And even Lando, you can kind of expect him 4 or 5. Maybe he'll get a podium here and there. So I think that's kind of where we can expect Danny throughout the season. But overall, they both kind of got up to speed last race. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the comparison between the two, you just got to look at their history. I mean, Danny, the jump from Red Bull to Renault, he kind of sucked at first. Then he got his groove, kind of going through the same thing here. But before, you look at Carlos, he was on Toro Rosso. He did all right. And then he went to Renault. He did pretty good. Then he went to McLaren, pretty good. Now he's on Ferrari, doing pretty damn good. The dude's used to getting in a new car and just kind of feeling it out. And he's just kind of a natural. I mean, his father is a world rally champ. I saw a video of Carlos doing donuts and like a Power Wheels when he was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
I think he just gets it. He understands the vehicle. He understands the physics behind it. And honestly, I mean, I hope we all love Daniel Ricciardo. Maybe he just doesn't have a swagger.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love it. I love Daniel. I think if he's going to do well at all, I think this weekend's the race, man. Like, he's traditionally done very well at Monaco, whether it's those old battles between when he was on Red Bull between a young Lewis Hamilton and a young him, like, those we all saw on Drive to Survive and everything. And so he does traditionally do very well at this track. So I'm hoping that he'll pull something out, like squeeze into that top 5, top 4 potentially even. I don't know, but like I don't really have much to add to that. I mean, it's been a fun battle for sure between the 4 drivers, split between McLaren and Ferrari for sure. But there's definitely 2 tiers. You got Carlos and Daniel on one right now, and then Charles and Lando, 2 floors above them doing their own thing as well. So it's even. It's fun to watch, I think, and I think that this Carlos Daniel thing is going to get tighter and tighter as the season goes. I'm hoping for it, but those constructors points are going to get pretty interesting as the season goes on between the 2 of them.
For sure. When you made that swagger comment, part of my soul left my body. Hurt.
I know.
I
Yeah,
hope you're right. I mean, dude, the thing is,
I do
he's
too.
getting up there, man. He's getting older, dude. You know, like you got to start to.
He's as
I
old
don't
as
know.
Lewis and as old as Seb. He is not young. Sorry, Daniel.
Right, exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever, 34.
I think so.
Uh,
I don't know.
let me Google it.
I can't believe that's an actual fact.
Daniel's
Why
31.
4 years younger.
I mean, he had 6 years on Red Bull, right?
Okay, he's
7
not as
years
old
or
as
something?
those two. He's 5 years younger. I misspoke.
Okay. We're gonna get a lawsuit if we keep doing that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Daniel.
Defamation of character.
I'm sorry, Daniel. Cut that.
And a team who we've like kind of brushed over this year, but who's been pretty consistent. Alpine has not finished outside of the top 10, other than did not finish by Alonso. So if they're in the race, finish in the top 10. Pretty damn impressive, man. Like they've kind of made that jump over Aston Martin from last year to this year. Like a pretty big jump. It's been crazy. Probably the biggest kind of storyline to come out of nowhere of the season so far.
Honestly, I wish Alonso didn't have that seat and somebody else who was faster did, because they'd be even more stronger of a team. Like, I mean, even if Daniel stayed, those two, I mean, Daniel was flying towards the end. He had those 2 podiums towards the end of that season. But you can't discredit Ocon. I mean, he's supposed to have a Mercedes seat. The Lewis era just never ended. So he ended up being the Frenchman in the French team. And I think it's worked out. I think he's the man there. And I think they're building a car around him. And I think he has his swagger back. Esteban Ocon, that's a bold take. He has his swagger back.
No doubt.
I don't like him.
Dude.
Swaggers from Danny to Ocon, I'm going to be very defeated.
No, dude. I mean, listen. At this point, just off the eye test, you know, there's no denying what Ocon's been doing so far. And you know, I mean, Alonso had a little bit of a stumble, I'm pretty sure today, right? Didn't he crash into the side today during FP1?
Yeah, he did a little bump.
Yeah, so you know, I totally agree with that. The whole Alonso thing is kind of like annoying me, and if it continues into the next season with Vettel, that's going to start to annoy me as well. I think that we're going to have to start seeing these seats being given up to some, you know, younger generation guys, but. Yeah, no, I mean, Alpine's looking fast as hell. You know, I mean, they're going to be right up there. You know, honestly, if they can keep it up, man, it could be a 3-way battle for that 3rd place constructors champ. You know, I mean, so far it's clearly Ferrari and McLaren, but you never know, man. I mean, you know, they're definitely right up there with them.
Yeah, and the exact opposite of Alpine, who's kind of been an underdog this year, has overwhelmed. The exact opposite, Yuki. We hyped this kid up so much. I don't really even want to talk about him that much. He just stinks. He started each race, he's gotten worse. 9, 12, 15, did not finish. I don't know.
Bad attitude. I don't know.
I loved him at the start of the year. The body language, the consistent mistakes. I don't know.
He did not walk the walk. But maybe he will one day, but he's not right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, you know, they were selling hype tickets for Yuki at the beginning of the season and we all bought them. So, you know, like it was exciting. I don't think there was a rookie that's had that much hype in a while coming into a season. And so far, yeah, it's been pretty disappointing. He's so young, you know, I mean, it's kind of hard to live up to that. You know, a lot of these guys, I mean, these guys have been racing these tracks rather for a long time, you know, so I have faith that eventually it's not like, you know, he's done, like his career's over, but he's got a lot of growing to do, I think.
Yeah.
He's doing better than the other rookies too.
Yeah. So he's doing much better than the other rookies. Exactly. Now, granted, he's got an AlphaTauri with, you know, versus a Haas, but
yeah. I get that he is young, but I would say there's a demeanor that I think you can tell when these young guys make that transition and they're still in their teens, like Lando and Max, where you go, that kid's going to be a driver's champion one day. Mm-hmm. I don't get that feel from Yuki, like, at all. Like, he's going to have to go up against Max's prime years. He's going to have to go up against Charles's prime years. He's going to have to go up against Lando's prime years. Like, I don't know. I just don't get the personality feel or like the competitive edge of those guys. I don't see it out of him. He just seems like he's kind of I don't know. He's unhinged almost.
Yeah.
Not very composed.
It's definitely emotional. I mean, he's it seems like, the mistakes hit him harder than they should. He's not really able to kind of let it blow past him, throw it behind him in the rear view. He sort of seems like he's kind of holding on to those a little bit. It's affecting him the next day. I'm just hoping, dude, again, he's so young, like it'll hopefully as he gets more experience and more comfortable, because dude, there was no denying what he did in F2, so like hopefully, I mean, he's got it in him, hopefully as he gets older, man, he'll figure it out. But I'm officially throwing my towel in for Yuki this year. I think I'm off that train for sure.
Yeah, I think all of us are. All right, Monaco, baby. I think it's perfect that this is, to the media, the biggest season of the race, the most buzz, because I think this is a super pivotal point in the season where it just feels like Max really, like, he can lose, and yes, like, is he completely out of it? If he does, no. But in my heart, it will feel like he does. He's 14 points behind Lewis. Lewis has won 3 races. Max has won 1. There's a very big difference between 3-2. And if Lewis wins this, 4-1. So it just feels like he's got to pull this one out, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Red Bull's notoriously done well at Monaco. I mean, even Christian Horner's said 2 years in a row now that they actually design their car around Monaco specifically. Like they really try to pull out something big there, and they have in the past. I was shocked to learn that this is actually Lewis Hamilton's best start to a season in his entire career, which is shocking. And so, I mean, as depressing as that is for everyone, because we thought, okay, maybe this would be, a closer battle than it is, and it's still close. But I agree. Last weekend made the outlook of what needs to happen for Red Bull very interesting. I think that like losing last week and having Lewis again take another podium, or sorry, first place rather, was just I don't know. This is Red Bull's probably biggest race of the year right now.
I'll be devil's advocate and speak for the dark side here. If Lewis wins this race, he ties Ayrton Senna for most wins in Monaco, which would be 8, I believe, if Lewis wins. This dude broke so many records last year. He's been breaking so many records on this tear towards the end of his career. I don't know, man. I'm just expecting it. This dude's just shattering every record. I think this might be another, just on his dunk tour. I don't know. He might even be back. Who knows?
Yeah, man. It's the greatest driver of all time, and he's not slowing down.
No.
For at least this year, probably next year too, which makes me sad. But another thing that makes me sad, we kind of touched on it earlier. I guess we'll go with who you said 1 or 2 races. So Sergio right now is 6th in standings behind both Lando and Charles. So, like, I guess I'll frame this as, like, what is acceptable for Sergio this week? Like, is 5 acceptable, or, like, does he need to be top 4? I think he needs to be 4 or higher.
Yeah. Especially after last week, I think so. And he understands it. The difference between, I keep using these comparisons, but you look at Albon and he's talking about like a P6 qual, and he's like, I think I had a good lap. This was good. You got Sergio P4 and he's pissed. He knows he could squeeze more out of the car. He's a mature vet. I think he needs to be in that P4, maybe P3 if Red Bull's doing the double stack tomorrow. Who knows? I mean, practice here, it doesn't say much considering how much traffic there is. Practice ended early today in the second session. I don't know. Red Bull could do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I actually agree. I don't even think it's P4 this week. I think he needs to get on that podium this week for Red Bull to really, like, not stay in it, because obviously they're going to still be in it, but but like, listen, the car, again, they do, Red Bull seems to do everything around this race, and so it's going to be really, really crucial that they get at least both cars in the top four. I mean, like I'm thinking again that Sergio, if he can keep that car on the rails, man, he's fast. But like who've mentioned earlier, man, this is going to come down to qualifier. I think, again, there's not a lot of overtaking on this track, and so if he can pull something out and be fast in qualifier, it's going to be very interesting, I think. But Sergio needs to do something quick here because Max can't do this by himself, and Bottas is definitely holding up his end of the bargain.
Yeah. And the two teams who could probably make sure that doesn't happen for Sergio this weekend, Ferrari and McLaren. Like I had said earlier, they're both have drivers ahead of him in the standings. So that is probably the battle that I'm looking forward to more this weekend than even Red Bull or Mercedes is McLaren and Ferrari. Yeah. So in the constructors, McLaren 65 points, Ferrari 60. You can tell, you can break down those teams into pretty much two battles. You got Charles, 5th in the driver's standings, Lando 4th, Danny 7, Carlos 8. So there's no way this thing doesn't go down to the very last 3 races, unless there's some really tragic thing that happens to one team where both drivers don't finish. They have a bunch of do not finishes in a row. They just get no points. I don't see how this thing doesn't go to the end of the season. I think on a race-to-race basis, especially in Monaco, we'll get fireworks from that battle.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, again, it's so fun watching those two. It's like those two teams right now are probably my favorite to be watching at the moment outside of this, battle that's happening between Max and Lewis. But like, if I keep getting depressed by these finishes of just like, Red Bull not being able to pull it off because of a strategy move or a tire strategy move or something, and Max is just kind of left there hanging, and you can see 25 laps into the future and just know that something's going to happen, it's like, that's going to suck. So, I mean, I'm putting it on Red Bull right now. They got to really figure this shit out. But outside of that, yeah, I think that by far the most fun battle so far this season has been watching those two, the Ferrari and McLaren battles. And again, I said it earlier, the 4 drivers are so, in my mind, so evenly matched between their cars and, like their abilities at this point. I think that it's going to be, that it should be very, very close. And it is.
Yeah, but it should be close. This weekend may not be so close. We're recording this Thursday night, so we were able to watch practice. We usually aren't able to get practice in before we record, so we got a little bit different feel for the weekend before recording. Ferrari in the FP2 going 1-2. Now, if Charles had gone 1 and Lewis and Max had gone 2-3, I would have said, okay, that's a fluke. Red Bull and Mercedes just kind of had something up their sleeve. But the fact that both Ferraris were 1-2 tell me it's the car on this track. Somehow this car fits this track. So Ferrari might be able to kind of pull away from McLaren this weekend, and then McLaren's going to have to play catch up for the rest of the year if Ferrari's really able to pull off anything close to what they exhibited in practice.
I think you're right about the car, because this car, it's a good low speed corner car. And you look at this track, and there's quite a few of those corners. F1 Twitter posted this clip of Charles literally a penny off this wall rubbing tires. I think he knows how to drive it because it's his home. He walks those streets. He understands it. And I think those cars are just really damn good this week. Something about them in those low speed corners. I think they're fast.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I gotta say to that is like, I mean, we saw the same thing out of Red Bull and Mercedes last week. I mean, they've been kind of sandbagging this entire season. So like, I mean, until I see, I think qualifier on this weekend always seems to be like just so key. I'm really hoping for it. I totally agree with you guys again, especially about the slower corner, quick pace that they have with that Ferrari car. It's leaps and bounds ahead of what it was last year. So, listen, let's hope they got, some of the most talented drivers on the track. So, hopefully they can pull it off. And like you said, I mean, Charles has been, he's looking phenomenal. So, I mean, I hope that we're not getting the sandbagging routine and that we might actually get, a really variable podium even potentially this week. I mean, again, both Max and Lewis, they've had their wrecks at Monaco as well, many times. It's not like those two are like this race always seems to be like everyone is just so thirsty to get up there. And, like it could be interesting to see who actually ends up finishing,
Yeah.
not even just on the podium, like finishing the race. Finishing this race is important.
Yeah. If Charles wins, I may cry real tears. That is
flip out, dude. It'd be awesome.
It is. He's my favorite driver on the grid. He traditionally hasn't done too well at this track. It would just be a lot. And for him to pull that out of this car at this track against Mercedes and Red Bull, who clearly have overall the better car, maybe not for this particular track, clearly overall the better car, it would just be absolutely wild for him to be able to pull that off. And I think he would cement himself as someone who, for the future, is, a top 2, top 3 driver, 100%.
No doubt.
He's never finished in Monaco, so I think he has a lot to prove this weekend.
Charles hasn't finished?
Wow. Not since 2017, I believe, which might be his entire career in F1. Yeah.
Oh,
wow. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So, there you go, man. Again, finish.
Race predictions for the week. We haven't done too good so far this season. So we're
going bold.
Yes, we are going. We're going to continue to do that. I haven't kept anything official that we can really keep records. The big guesses that I did note from earlier this year: Hoove in the second race, you hit Lando podium, and that's pretty much the only bold prediction that we've had that's hit, because we have gone.
I'll take
pretty much from the hip on some of these. I had in top 6. Chip had Antonio Giovinazzi top 6. I mean,
yep.
I did have that.
We're not making stock picks outside of race winners, so the records might not reflect it. But when we do hit, if you were betting on it, it'll be a massive payout.
Yeah.
So
of course,
you're gonna lose a lot, but when you win, you might at least make your money back, and it'll be incredibly exciting. So, race winner. I have a feeling I know who we're all gonna go with. I think we're all going to go with our hearts, not our minds. I know I am. I have to take Max, because if I take Lewis, even if I win this prediction right, I'll be so depressed by it that I can't live with myself. So I have to take Max. I just have to.
I'm taking Max. I got Max, Lewis, and Charles, man. 1, 2, 3. That's my top 3. But again, dude, it's so up in the air. I mean, dude, again, both Max and Lewis have wrecked, many times and not finished this race. So, we'll see.
Whew. Lando Norris gets his first win in Monaco.
Yes.
In 2021, at just the tender age of, I think he's 21 or 22. I don't know, one of those. Yeah, he's gonna win this thing. Nobody's expecting it, but goddamn, this kid's gonna qualify his dick off tomorrow.
Yeah. Chip already gave his podium. I think I'm gonna go Max 1, Lewis 2, Lando 3. I think Valtteri gets bumped this race. Something happens where he ends up 8 or 9. I just think he's been having a really bad season. A lot of unlucky stuff. I think that's just good. I think overall the season for him is going to be a nightmare, and next year he's out with George Russell, which we can have a conversation about later on. But I'm going to go 3 different cars in the top 3. I think we're going to mix it up this week.
I'll say there'll be.
You already have Lando, so now you got
Charles is going on the podium. I think.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's making it on the
podium. Lando
podium.
and Charles on the podium will be the happiest guy.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go for the third. Give it to Lewis. Give it to Max. Give it to Valtteri. I don't care which one of them it is, but I'm saying Lando and Charles. They're going to be a race winner and in the podium. We'll see that combination.
If we get Max, Lewis, Valtteri, we're all gonna look stupid.
Well, it
And-
always looks stupid too because like this is going to be a big first race weekend with a ton of people because a ton of people are going to hear Christian Horner on PMT tomorrow. There's a ton of advertising behind Monaco. A lot of people are going to tune in, and if it's a snooze fest, it's not going to be a good look for the sport.
No. All right.
Yep.
My favorite one, top 6. Who do we think is going to sneak into that 6th spot this week? Chip, I'm going to pass it over to you because I haven't thought about this yet.
Yeah, I said to Hoove as we were coming on, like, man, I've been thinking about this the entire conversation so far. And can we say Pierre in the top
Yeah.
6? Is that a valid, like,
Yeah.
because here's my
Last
reasoning.
year, no. This year, yes.
Yeah.
Sticking with this, the Red Bull again, dude. They seem to do really well at Monaco, and I'm going to include AlphaTauri in that. You know, I mean, a tight car, tight turns, you know, all that. Pierre's phenomenal with that, so you know, I'm going to see him sneak into the top 6.
Yeah, I was going to say Pierre, but then on my mind, I may have said Pierre the past 2 or 3 weeks. I don't fucking know.
I was just about to say, can we go back at some
Yeah.
point and see how many times Pierre has been set for the top 6? I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure it's
think-
in every race so far.
It's happened. But I mean, I mentioned him earlier. I might as well stick to what I'm saying, double down. I'm going to say the Frenchman Esteban Ocon.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that.
Little
Sure.
Alpine strength.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just pulled this out of my butt.
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna go.
Antonio.
No.
Antonio.
I'm gonna go. This is Seb's swan song.
Yeah.
He gets
I almost said that, dude. I
Yeah.
almost said that.
Step at
I
Monaco,
like that.
gets his best finish for the rest of the year. At the most infamous track, he has his biggest highlight of his final season.
Mm-hmm.
This is closing time for Seb. You know, one last call for alcohol. So finish your whiskey and beer. Just cap it off at Monaco. All the rest of the season, just kind of a wash. And just be happy with your top 6 finish at Monaco. And then just call it a career. Because let's get real. He's not going to do too much in that Aston Martin for the rest of the year. If we can just get one more great Seb moment, pulls, you know, everything he can out of this car. There's going to have to be some crashes for it to happen. But I think we get it. I think we get it. And I'm not a huge fan, but I would love to see it. I would love to see him at least do something great this year.
I mean, guys, like compared to other tracks, how much can you name a track on the circuit that has more, that where experience matters more than Monaco? I mean, just in terms of like having done it so like throughout your career so much and like all that, just seems to me like, so, and again, just the gravity, like we were talking earlier, so much publicity about this race in particular every year, especially, you know, it's just F1 this year has just grown so much. I agree. That's why I almost went with Seb earlier, is like, you know, it's experience matters so much on this track. And so I think that, you know, it absolutely could happen that, you know, an Aston finds its way into that top 6 with Vettel driving it.
Yeah.
I like that pick.
It's going to be a big weekend. Hopefully moving forward, the 2 marquee weekends on the calendar are Monaco and Miami, double M, baby.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be at Miami, hopefully, if not every year, pretty much every year for the next decade, because it's going to be the greatest weekends of the year. So let's get it, guys. I got butterflies just thinking about even just Saturday, like qual. I'm already so fired up for. Never even mind the race. Like, I almost want to have a damn watch party for this thing. I wish we were over somewhere in Europe where we could go to the bar and really like get it going with a bunch of F1 fans. Unfortunately, there's just nothing like that. I wish I was with you guys this weekend like we had wanted to be. Either way, it's going to be a great watch. I don't expect a boring race. I think we're going to get fireworks. So strap in, everybody. Let's get it.
Buckle up.